And joining us now, Andy McCarthy, contributing editor to National Review, senior fellow with the National Review Institute, and former federal prosecutor and New York Times best-selling author. Andy, welcome, sir.
Steve, always a pleasure.
All right, so as I mentioned, National Review with an endorsement today. It's no surprise to me, endorsing Ted Cruz for president. The editors did it naturally, but the thinking behind this to do it at this point?
Well, I think it's time. I mean, some of us individually, I endorsed Senator Cruz some months back, but I think now we're really getting down to what the choice in the matter is, and it's really a critical time. I can't think of a much more critical time coming up to Tuesday, and then looking beyond. The field has really winnowed, and we're down to a really stark choice. And for those of us at National Review who've really worked in an institution that, forged by William F. Buckley Jr., has always, I think, identified itself with good reason as the beacon of the conservative movement, we now have a champion of conservative ideals who is probably as able, articulate, and bright a champion as we've had certainly in recent memory, and going back some time. So I think it was incumbent on us to rally around him, and I'm glad we did.
All right. Now, of course, several weeks ago, and I had you and Bill Kristol on, of course, Bill Kristol with the Weekly Standard, who both contributed, you and Bill, to the National Review magazine that had about 20 people coming out and basically, I'll say, trashing or bashing or taking to task Donald Trump. And that hasn't seemed to influence too many people. I mean, I don't know who it influenced, but certainly there's been no tumble in the polls. There's been no stunning defeats. There's been no, a disassembling of the momentum or the campaign of Donald Trump. Do you think that this will make a difference?
Well, I always think National Review has a good chance to make a difference, and I'm not sure that that the Trump issue didn't. I mean, you're right that there hasn't been any great shift downward in the polls, but at the same time, Trump seems to be stuck in the mid to high 30s. It's a ceiling for him. And if you look at the campaign results, if you look at the primary results, Steve, he does well in two places: open primaries where Democrats can vote, and primaries where there's a lot of early voting. And what you're seeing is that he's holding a lead based on the people who voted some weeks ago sometimes. And when it gets down to late deciders, and when it gets down to brass tacks where people have to actually do the voting, candidates or voters are breaking for other candidates. So, I don't think that it's not exactly like he's running away with this thing. And I do think that the Trump issue made a difference, and I believe this will make a difference as well.
Let me put up for everybody to see the last paragraph of the National Review endorsement out today, and I find it interesting. If we could put that graphic up. What matters now is that Cruz is a talented and committed conservative. He's also Republicans' best chance for keeping their presidential nomination from going to someone with low character and worse principles. We support Ted Cruz for president. Interesting to me that it doesn't say that Ted Cruz gives them the best chance to win the presidency. It doesn't say that Ted Cruz has the best chance to beat Hillary. It just says that basically it's the best chance from keeping the nomination from going to Donald Trump. I think that's a strange presidential endorsement.
Well, I think that's the last paragraph, Steve, by an institution that's invested itself in defeating Trump. I think if you read the whole...
Oh, they tout Cruz, absolutely.
I think Cruz is touted, and also is touted as the most suitable person for the job. Whether he turns out to be the most electable, I think we say in the editorial that for all the people who've said he's not electable, he's doing pretty well. So I think those predictions have, as far as I'm concerned, they've gone by the boards. And all I'll say personally about it is that look, an editorial is a corporate statement of an institution. I'm happy to be somebody who has endorsed Cruz and been in favor of Cruz for a considerable period of time. I don't feel like I'm voting against somebody. I don't feel like Cruz is my choice to prevent somebody from obtaining the nomination. I'm very satisfied to champion Ted Cruz because I think he's the best fit, regardless of who else is in the field.
Personal note, not speaking for National Review. If Trump wins Florida and wins Ohio, does your thought process change? We have 30 seconds. Do you think it's probably over at that point?
Well, I think probably it knocks out Kasich and Rubio, but I don't think it's over. No, it's obviously a narrower path.
Right.
But if Ted gets a one-on-one with Trump, I have optimism that the right outcome will happen.
Andy, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Steve.